So the big question is this: how are marketers like us, who don't cut corners and rely on hype-filled, black hat, scammy marketing, who are always focused on providing value first and over-delivering for our customers with every single purchase they make, how do we market our products and services in a way that allows us to get our message out into the world, dominate the competition, and create a lifestyle of freedom and abundance without sacrificing sales and profit? That's the riddle, and on this show, you'll find the answer. Hey, my name's Misha Wilson, and welcome to Marketing with Misha.
What is going on, everyone? Misha Wilson here, coming at you for another episode of Marketing with Misha. As always, let me know what your name is and where you're coming in from in the comments box down below. If you guys get value throughout this video, don't forget to go ahead and comment, like, heart, and share. And of course, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. And today, I'm going to talk about the ever controversial, trending topic of the coronavirus, how it affects your business, kind of how I feel about the whole thing, and most importantly, a marketing lesson that can help you drive more profit, generate more sales, create a swoon of sales whenever you need, kind of an instant surge in your business. And with that said, just one of the oldest marketing principles in the game. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive in. So obviously you've heard about the coronavirus, right? It's spreading, it's crazy, it's gonna take over the world, it's gonna kill everybody, everybody's gonna die. You better get endless amounts of toilet paper and bottled water, even though you'll probably not need that much toilet paper. And you can probably still get bottled water even if you do have the coronavirus, but you better stock up on an endless supply of toilet paper and bottled water just in case. But all jokes aside, the coronavirus, right? It seems to be spreading fairly quickly. There's mass media attention on it. There's a bunch of fear around it. There's a bunch of kind of people freaking out about something. And in general, there's just this huge kind of, vacuum of worry around this thing. And so firstly, I kind of want to talk about how I feel about the whole thing in general and kind of some of the stupidity around, some of the ways that humans act and kind of just the general whole thing. What blows me away about the whole coronavirus is people do shit that could kill them every single day, knowingly, and out of essentially just wanting to do it. So people know, and there's been studies over and over and over again done, that smoking will literally kill you. If you smoke for a long enough period of time, you will get cancer and you will die. It doesn't stop people from doing it, right? Every single day, people get in their car and they drive on some of the biggest freeways in the world with extreme risks of getting in a car accident and dying. Car crash fatalities, death from cigarettes. All of those things will literally kill you, but people do them every single day. And so it blows me away when something like this happens is kind of the engineered manipulation of fear around one thing versus the other, and kind of the risks that people take for granted on a daily basis because there isn't this engineered fear. I mean, imagine if every single day when someone died of smoking too many cigarettes, thousands of people very quickly dying of smoking too many cigarettes, it was on the news. And the next day, oh my God, more people died from smoking cigarettes. It was on the news again. The next day, more people died from smoking cigarettes. And every single time someone died from smoking cigarettes, we were going to do an increased count. And every single time, someone got cancer because of cigarettes, we were going to do an increase in the amount of people, the count of the amount of people who got cancer from smoking cigarettes. Very quickly, there would be this whole oh my God, everyone's dying because of cigarettes. And people would be wearing little masks to avoid cigarette smoke, and so on and so forth, right? My point is that kind of the manipulation of the masses is the thing that's most interesting to watch here, at least in my opinion. And it's funny how people will do stuff that they absolutely know over the course of a period of time will fucking kill them, but they'll still do it. And then something that might potentially get them sick, and then there's a chance that if they get sick, you don't know if you're going to get sick or not, but if you have a healthy immune system, chances are you'll recover from it. Because of the actual media and because of how it's being spread, there's this mass panic around this thing, right? And so firstly, just looking at that human psychology, it's really interesting. And I would highly recommend everyone kind of looking at some of the different stuff we do in our life every single day that we take for granted that could very well get us killed, right? I mean, every time you get on an airplane, you're making the assumption that that pilot knows what the fuck they're doing, right? I mean, rest in peace, one of the greatest sportsmen of all time, Kobe Bryant would get on a helicopter every single day making the assumption that the pilot knew what he was doing, and it only took one day of pilot error for, you know, a living legend to unfortunately kind of leave this world. Yeah, Tawana, how are you? Just said crossing the street has inherent risk. So there are so many things around us that have inherent risk nonstop that we just take for granted, yet we get into a mass frenzy and a mass panic when told to. All right, really that's what I want to talk about today, the when told to part. Because really above all else, and as always, give me some comments, likes, hearts, and shares if you guys are getting value. Really above all else, what I see here is just mass manipulation of the masses and mass manipulation around one thing, and one thing that you absolutely have to use in your marketing if you're going to be successful. One thing that some people who don't necessarily love marketing, but they want to have a successful online business, they try to get around using, because sometimes they can feel like it's icky. Sometimes they can feel like they don't want to push that hot button. Sometimes they can feel like, you know, I don't want to use that as part of my brand. And yes, it's always better to just provide value. It's always, you know, important to provide value, but you absolutely have to use this thing too. And that thing is fear, all right? So if you really look at a mass scale, you know, the fear out there, the big thing around coronavirus is fear of loss, all right? Fear of losing your life. Fear of losing resources that you're going to need to have in case everyone gets quarantined and they aren't going to be able to leave their houses, right? Paying $50 or $60 for a bottle of Purell because you have a fear of the loss of the ability to not be able to wash your hands, right? Which, by the way, just fucking wash your hands. Like, you can wash your hands without the coronavirus going around. I saw a funny meme that essentially said it might be a good idea to wash your hands even when we don't have a mass outbreak of the coronavirus, right? That's kind of generally how I feel. But with that said, the core underlying thing driving this whole, you know, spread and this whole massive burst of attention, this whole massive, you know, just, it's everywhere, right? Underlying, it's fear. And if you don't have something in your marketing where you invoke a sense of fear of loss, you're not marketing. And that's the very, you know, it's the point blank, brutal, and honest truth, but it is the truth. If you don't have something in your marketing where you create a sense of urgency around something that someone's going to miss out on, then you're leaving thousands of dollars on the table. And as an affiliate, it can come in the form of a bonus. It can come in the form of, you know, an extra freebie that you might give. It can come in the form of something that they really want, where if they wait too long to purchase, it'll disappear, right? Now, obviously, you don't have the advantage of fear of loss of life, which this whole coronavirus thing does. I'm not saying that should be an advantage that you try to use in your marketing, but the general core principle is fear of loss. And so remember, in your marketing, if you're just getting out there and making an offer and providing value, and even if it's a good offer, if you're just kind of providing value and going out and seeing what other people are giving and trying to give more value and saying, hey, this is what I got, you can get this at any time, and it's super valuable and I think it's going to help you, you're missing out on the core underlying element of that, you know, fear of missing out, that very, very, very kind of instinctual, almost beast-like, weird, you know, reptilian brain thing that kicks in when someone feels like they're going to miss out on something, when someone feels like they need to do something right now, when someone feels like if they don't do something right now, there's going to be a consequence. And that's really where you see all the pictures of people with the toilet paper and the waters and all that. There's the fear of the consequence of, if I don't do this right now, if I don't stock up right now, I won't be able to in the future, all right? For those of you who came to our immersion event a couple of years ago, I sold from stage, right? And I had one pitch where I ended up closing, I think, 87% of the room into like a $200 package, 197 or 147 or 297, somewhere around that. And I closed 87% of the people, but I closed 87% of the people in about 3 seconds. And if you were at that event and you saw that, it was a trippy thing to see because the whole room just got up and ran to the back of the room as quickly as humanly possible. How did I get them to all get up at the same time and run to the back of the room? I had something in that pitch where I knew everybody who was at that event really wanted one thing in that actual offer. I built up the value around that one thing. I told a story to illustrate the value of that one thing. And then I told everybody in the room at the same time, there was something like 165 people in the room at that time. I told everybody in the room at the exact same time that the first 10 were going to be the only people to get it. And if you were after the first 10, you were going to miss out. And literally all at once, I went from seeing the entire crowd looking at me this way to everybody getting up, turning, and sprinting to the back of the room. And to the point where literally the people taking orders had people throwing their credit cards at them. Actually, I made a mistake. And the next thing I had, it was like only available for the next 5 people. It should have been like 15. I accidentally screwed up the order, but people wanted that thing too. So it was, holy crap, I need to get in the first 5. And people were throwing credit cards and weird shit like that, right? Where you look at it logically and you say, no one's going to get up and sprint and throw a credit card and like wrestle over the person next to them and climb over a chair, all of which were happening. But that's what's possible when you use the power of fear of loss. All right. Now, obviously, use it right. Use it with integrity. Have something that actually does expire. Have something that, there actually is a limited quantity available to it. You can make an offer that's available to everyone. And give me some comments, likes, hearts, and shares. As always, if you guys are getting value, you can have an offer that's available to everyone and have a few components of the actual offer, a few bonuses of the actual offer that people really want. And this is the key, and I'm getting a little bit more in depth here, but the key is to make those few bonuses or those few components the sexiest, sweetest, most desirable components that the audience truly wants more than anything else. When you create your whole offer, let's say you have 10 components, make the 1 or the 2 components that are going to expire be the absolute best components, the water to the guy in the middle of the desert who hasn't drank for 3 days, right? The piece of steak to the dog that hasn't eaten for a week. Make those components to your audience the components that disappear, build desire around them, tell people that it's going to be gone after XYZ units or after the deadline, whatnot. And that's how you can create an instant surge of sales, boost conversions, and at the end of the day, long term, if you build it in an evergreen manner, create an offer that absolutely crushes it. Because as Dan Kennedy says, and I think Dan Kennedy is alive, I had said rest in peace way back when he had his health catastrophe and everyone thought he was dead, but I think he came through it. So as the not late great Dan Kennedy says, you don't have an offer without scarcity. You don't have an offer without that fear of loss. You don't have an offer without that fear of missing out contained within the offer. And if you're not using it right now, look at this whole coronavirus thing. Look at how it's spreading. Look at how fanatical people are getting. Look at how weird people are getting around it. And at a core level, whether or not you think that you're at risk for getting it, whether you think it's serious, etc., there's no denying that at a core level, fear of loss and fear of missing out, fear of loss of life, fear of loss of being able to buy those things like I talked about earlier is driving it more than anything else. So that's my message for the day. Give me some comments, likes, hearts, and shares if you guys got value out of today's episode as always. And hey, if you did get value, as always, don't forget to go ahead and hit that little like button below. If you're watching this on YouTube, it of course helps my YouTube engagement. Don't forget to hit that red subscribe button as well. And until next time, over and out.